Hello everyone, my name is Noor Ibrahim Al-Khadr, and today for my project I'm going to introduce you to the Cambridge Mosque. So designed by Mark Barfield Architects, the Cambridge Mosque opened in 2019 with its most notable features being the timber columns, the roof and ceiling treatment, as well as the patterned facade. Now the main goals that I wanted to achieve here was that I wanted to differentiate between the prayer hall columns and the lobby columns parametrically using kangaroo. So in the prayer hall columns, you can see that the lines converge upwards as opposed to the lobbies. And then some additional goals that I wanted to do were the notable features. So this is a diagram on how I approached it. So the three elements here are the massings, and then the lighter greens are the main goals. The lighter blues here are the additional goals, with the dashed lines being interconnectedness within the model. In order to start the model, I started with the columns and the geometry. So I took a rectangle, I subdivided it into 12 points, and then I had just started coloring and connecting lines until I get the geometry that I liked. So it's these three groups of curves for this. And then I needed to project these curves onto the column, and that's where the kangaroo physics come in. So just as before, we start with the rectangle, we move it upwards, we scale, we turn it into mesh, and thus we connect it to the kangaroo elements. And then we find the area, convert that square into a circle. And then after a lot of operations, we finally have this mesh in which the convergence point can be controlled using this slider. And we can also control how concave it is using the length factor. Finally, we have the projection, and then we sweep. So after that, we can introduce secondary elements such as the skylight frame and the branch beams. And then we array it, and since in this prayer hall there is a large dome which acts as a skylight, we need to cull the array, which would then look like this. So now we need to do the roof. So it's just a standard roof with these boxy skylight elements, and then it is trimmed, so, or had a boolean difference to it. So surrounding this, there are some decorative elements such as the brick pattern. So initially I did something close to this using an image sampler, but it was too heavy to project. So I traced each of the curves, assigned them to a curve element, and then I arrayed them rectangularly and extruded the roof edges and projected onto that. So this is the brick pattern, and we also have a trim that I've done by turning a polyline into a burep and then extruding it and arraying it as well. The last element of the prayer hall features the dome, which looks like this. So this is the top of the dome, and then we have the bottom of the dome. And the pattern here was done by dividing a rectangle again and essentially just arraying it and boolean differencing it again. This is what the mesh for the lobby entrance looks like, and you can see the difference in where the column falls. And another difference is the roof treatment or the ceiling treatment. So there's like this crisscross beam, which I used a rectangle divided and culled to create this pattern. And in addition to the other elements, we have this roof ceiling. And then we just repeated the brick pattern, and the end result is this. Finally, this is the final baked model, and oh my god. Okay, so this is it from the bottom and from the sides to look more clearly in the screenshots. So these are the screenshots. I tried to place them where they seemed to have the most detail. So like this is the dome, the frames, and the rectangular crisscross beams. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening.